Welcome to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, a homeschool mom, entrepreneur, and educator with over 20 years of experience in the areas of elementary and special education. It's my mission to help you create lifelong learners and embrace a holistic approach to education at home. I'll be sharing practical strategies, inspiration, and resources to support your family. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, or balancing work and homeschool, you're in the right place to connect with a community that values education just as much as you do. Join us each week as we ditch the stress, embrace the joy of learning, and set your family up for a lifetime of success. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to another episode of the Home Education with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, your home education expert. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Due to a few technical difficulties while traveling this summer, we are going to postpone our 2 interviews that I had scheduled for the end of this month. So last week, we talked all about ways that we can create a personalized learning plan for your family by starting with your child instead of looking at different curriculum options, right? So today, our big idea that we're going to talk about is we don't need more curriculum recommendations, right? There's a ton of curriculum out there. There's a ton of things that we can dive into, look at, and explore, and good reviews, bad reviews. This person's using this, and this worked for my child, right? Lots of recommendations. I believe what we need is more clarity and confidence when it comes to making that plan for our family. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. But if you did not have a chance to listen to episode 133, where we talked all about that personalized learning plan for your child, definitely check that one out because we're going to expand more on that. But this will still be a great episode by itself, but if you listen to episode 133 for the foundation of what we're going to talk about today, it's going to make maybe a little more sense, maybe. But like I said, you'll totally get it. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about ways that, things that I see all the time as parents are starting to plan for their home education journey with their kids. Right? So we are now into the middle of July, almost the end of July. Okay. And that is wild to me that July has just flown by and here we are getting it back into back to school, whether you are already doing back to school or whether you are starting it up at the end of July or the beginning of August or the end of August or September, whenever it is for you and your family. We are here now, right? Summer has flown by. Hopefully we still get some more days to enjoy, but we now need to start looking at what does this look like? And maybe you already have a plan, and that's great. But if you have been considering home education and you're like, what does that look like for my family? Let's talk about that, all right? So something I see all the time is parents are stuck before they even begin. There's so much out there, right? And it causes this overwhelm feeling. And I don't know about you, but I know that I have felt that feeling. So I would love to know in the Home Education with Ease Facebook group, have you ever felt that stuck feeling, that overwhelmed feeling? A big project is coming up and there's so many things to do. And then you just freeze and you say, I don't know what to do next. I'm going to raise my hand because I know that I've felt that way. I know that I have started to tackle some business projects and thought like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing. So then I start investing in this and buying this and listening to this person and getting all distracted on all the things because they tell me they're going to solve that problem for me. They're going to help me become less overwhelmed. When sometimes it may work, but sometimes it just adds more noise to what I have already created, all of the noise that was already there, right? So let's talk about home education, same kind of thing. There are tons of Facebook groups out there. There are a ton of curriculum options out there. Pinterest, Instagram, your friend down the street is homeschooling their kids and you're watching what they're doing, or your neighbor or your friend group, right? There's so many things that we could be doing that could cause a lot of this overwhelm feeling. This, I want to do this, but I'm stuck, but I don't know what to do first. I don't know where to begin, right? And everyone's recommending something else. This one worked good for my child, and this one was a good option for Susie down the street, and this one, is great for this. I get that, okay? So the problem isn't there's not enough options. Sometimes there's too many options. And what I often see is families say to me, well, one, I'm going to buy this curriculum, or I did buy this curriculum, and then it didn't work. Or I didn't know what to do next with it. Or it worked for one child, but it didn't work for the other. All valid. All things that I've heard. If that is you, if you were in that boat, you are not alone at all. Because I've seen it, I've done it, I've heard it. I have bought programs that said, yes, that's what I'm going to do. And then I don't touch them. So this is my reminder to myself to get back into some of those programs that I have purchased and start to utilize them. Now, I do have to say there is nothing wrong with pivoting if it truly doesn't work for your family. But if you don't have a plan and you just start throwing spaghetti at the wall and then hoping something's going to work, maybe this is when we need to come back together, figure out what that plan is for your family, for your child, and start looking at the resources that we have and creating that plan to meet your family's needs. And yes, you may need to add a few little things to your plan, to your resource, library. But once we have that plan, we're able then to keep moving forward and adapt as needed. So there's 4 things that I see that keep parents stuck. And one of them is making the wrong decision. Fear of making the wrong decision, right? What if I buy the wrong curriculum? What if I mess up? That's all valid, right? All of these things are definitely concerns. Yes, you could buy the wrong curriculum and you could make an investment and think that it's going to solve all the problems. You make the investment and then you look at it and you say, whoa, now what? What do I do now? There's not someone that I can talk to help me solve these problems. I've got to figure it out, or I have to pivot and try something new. What if I mess up? That's a huge one, right? We are educating our kids and we don't want to mess that up. Absolutely. But I believe that if we are focusing on skills, we are focusing on life in general, we are focusing on creating kind, independent, confident kids, we are setting them up for so much more success than we can even imagine. Stay focused on those math skills. Give them a great foundation. Focus on reading and writing and spelling. Cursive writing, like all of the things that are not being taught or not being taught well, those are the things we want to be focusing on. We want to make sure that our kids do know their multiplication facts, that they do know how to add and subtract and what they know about percentages and fractions and all of these things. Sure, could we rely on computers and AI and calculators in our phone? Absolutely, we could. But I think what's going to be the better benefit is if they use those things as a tool, not as something they have to rely on. So keep that in mind. What are the skills you want for your children? What is it for your family? Because there's a ton of options out there. But we want to find the fit for your family and your children. And then we also have all the Instagram, all the Pinterest, all the Facebook, right? Everyone's showcasing beautiful homeschool rooms or perfect lessons and perfect curriculum and this schedule works great and routines. And yes, that's true. But remember, on social media, we're only seeing a glimpse, a small little percentage of what's actually going on. Because I guarantee that everyone has their hard days. We all have them. We have hormones, especially if you have a lot of girls in your family, right? Even just one, even mom and a daughter, right? That's enough hormones for anyone. But add more girls to the mix. Add more hormones monthly. Add puberty. Add our littles as they are learning to become independent. And they're throwing tantrums, which I don't like that word because I'm like, they're just trying to figure out life. They're just trying to be independent themselves. And they want to know, why can't I tie my shoes like my sister can? Why can't I cut that apple just as good as you, Mom? Maybe because I've been practicing for years and years and years. And you'll get there. But right now, we just have to keep practicing. It's okay to be frustrated, but don't let it prevent you from learning more and growing. So just keep that in mind. As you are, planning out your days, plan for flexibility because there are going to be some days that just are not going to go as planned. That is a fact for sure. Another thing that I see is trying to do everything. And guys, I just have to say I'm guilty of this in one aspect or another, right? And I remember really doing this, like falling into this category before 2020 and saying I wanted to do it all. I wanted to take my kids everywhere. I wanted to do all the things. And where did that end me up? Frustration. I was tired. I was burnt out. The kids were exhausted, right? And when 2020 hit and we made a big move to Georgia, I made this vow to myself that I am going to start to be very intentional with my time with my children, with my time with my husband, with my own personal time. What are the things that fill my cup up? What are the things that my children need? Not what everyone else is saying that everyone needs. Oh, your kid needs this and they need this and no. What are my priorities? What are our priorities? And I say mine, but I also mean my husband and I. We have these conversations of what are the priorities? What do we want our kids to have before they leave our house? What skills? What values? What morals? Where do we want their faith to be? All of those things, that's what's important. So remember, we're not comparing. We are not trying to fit everything in. We are going to pick and choose. There's always going to be a field trip. There's always going to be a co-op to join. There's always going to be extracurricular activities. There's always going to be something else. And someone is always going to offer their suggestion and their recommendation. So instead of looking at that and saying, I need to do all of that, look at that and ask yourself, your spouse, your children even, what matters most for our family? What is important for our values, for our faith, for our life, and how we want to live our life? Do we want to live a more peaceful life full of simplicity? I know that that's the direction that I'm going. I want it to be easier. I want it to be a simple life. And I'm definitely not saying not hardworking ethics. I want to instill good work ethics. I think that is huge. I am seeing that more and more that it is not instilled in the majority. And I want that to be instilled. I want to instill good values. I want them to have those math skills and those reading skills, those life skills, things that matter the most in this life. So keep that in mind too. What matters the most for you? And then let's not forget, another reason parents can get stuck is they forget the big picture, the big why of it all. I was just having a conversation with my dad and my husband, and we're talking about planning. And the quote goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that quote had been spoken to me years before when I was teaching, probably when I was in college. And I still recall that quote. I still kind of lean on that because I can fall into that trap sometimes of just go, 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 go. What's the next thing? Oh, is this a shiny object over here? Let's try that. I've been getting better. But the reason I say this for you is, what is your why? What is the reason behind doing everything that we do? What is the big picture? Is it to finish every worksheet or workbook and make sure your kids solve every single problem? To me, it's a hard no. If my kids know how to do 3 to 5 of those math problems, I don't need them to show me they can do 50 of those math problems. Sure, am I going to go back and practice those math skills and give them a math problem once in a while to keep their skills sharp? Absolutely. But I'm not going to just give them a worksheet just to keep them busy. I would much rather them creating a business, developing a business. I would much rather them get in the kitchen and cook dinner. I would much rather them interact with neighbors and potential customers where my daughter is running her dog treat business. I want her to be interacting with customers. I want my son to be watching a chef that he aspires to be like, and then get in the kitchen because he says to me, and I think I shared this with you before in a few episodes ago, but he says, Mom, I know my spices. When we were talking about cooking or talking about a recipe, and it wasn't in a cocky kind of a way. It was in a way that like, I'm paying attention. I know how to do this because I've been watching and I've been experimenting and I've been doing. And that's what we want for our kids. We want them to be independent. We want them to be confident. We want them to be kind and lifelong learners. We don't want that to stop. So what is it that you want? What is the big picture for you and your family? So let's talk about all of those. Those are the 4 things that I can see, right? When we have that fear of messing up, that fear of making the wrong decision, right? We have that comparison trap. That's for everyone now with social media. That is so easy to do. Trying to do it all, totally get that. And then forgetting the big picture. What is the why behind it all? So keep those things in mind. And let's talk about how can we change that? Well, like we said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So we need some clarity. We need to look at our why, and we need to understand, who is your child? What are the goals that we have for them? What are our priorities? And by looking at those things, we are going to make better educational decisions. It's going to become easier and simpler. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be so complex that we have to read a teacher manual and, oh my goodness, I don't even understand what this means. Guys, I dislike teacher manuals so much. And I was a teacher. Maybe that's why I don't like them. But that is why whenever I teach curriculum and I write my curriculum, I record a video to go with it. Hey, moms and dads, here is how we're going to teach this lesson. Or I just make the video for the kids. Hey, guys, this is how we do subtraction with regrouping. Hey, guys, this is how we solve how we add fractions, right? By showing them how to do it. Because to me, we want this to be easy, but we want it to be meaningful. We want it to make sense. So for me, I know what I've done is I've stopped asking, what is everyone else doing? What should I be doing? Nope, I don't want that anymore. What should I be doing because everyone else is doing it? Nope, I don't want that. I want to start asking the question, and I encourage you to ask this question. What is right for us? What is right for my family? What is right for my child and what is right for our season of life, because that changes too. And how do we keep moving forward? So what I encourage you and I invite you to is my free live interactive workshop. And the reason I created this was because this is really what I love helping families do. I love helping them build your child's personalized learning plan, whatever that looks like. How can we find the resources? How can we find the schedule that meets your needs, not everyone else's needs? Sure, I have a template and a plan, but guess what? When we meet together, we're going to come up with a plan and a schedule that meets your family. I have ideas, and how can we utilize that time that you have to the best of your ability and make it intentional. And then we start diving more and deeper into making that plan for your family. So I created this live interactive workshop. It's 3 days live with me. So I'm so excited for this. It's been a while since I've done a live workshop in addition to making it 3 days. So I'm very excited about this because there's so much information and so much content. But what we're going to talk about during our 3 days is we are going to create a family vision for your family. We're creating a profile for your kids. We're going to talk about your priorities. How can we have meaningful learning experiences? We're going to talk about the weekly rhythm that you can have. Again, we don't want this to be so hard. If we have a system and a routine that we can come back to day after day, week after week, it's not supposed to be boring. It's supposed to help us regulate our nervous system. It's supposed to help us know what's coming up, what's next. It's supposed to help our kids know what is expected of them. And that is how we get that ball rolling of, okay, great. They know that they need to do this. Now they need to do this. Now I know that I need to do X, Y, and Z, right? We're going to talk all about that. And we're going to create a personalized learning plan for your family. So you're going to have a plan by the end of our 3 days that fits your child specifically. So I want to ask you, I want to ask you one question to ask yourself, right? If I stopped comparing myself to everyone else, what kind of education journey would I be creating for my child or children? If I blocked everyone out, and I know it's hard in this day and age to block things out. We have notifications coming from all angles. But what if you blocked them out and said, what is this educational journey going to look like for my family and my family alone? And how would that change the trajectory of your educational journey and your kids' plan for success? So I encourage you to join our live interactive workshop that is on July 29th, 30th, and 31st from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And the link to sign up is going to be in the show notes below. So the workshop is called Build Your Child's Personalized Learning Plan. That link will be in the show notes. You can click there, join that link, get the information. You can also head over to the Home Education with Ease Facebook group and get additional information there, as well as just share with us what are some of those ways that you have felt stuck before. What are some of those ways that you want to set your kids up for success, but you felt that you've fallen into the comparison trap or the too many options, the overwhelm, all of those things? So valid. You are not alone in that journey because that truly is the life that we live right now. So many distractions, so many options. And I would love to walk alongside you on your educational journey and help you every step of the way. Thank you for tuning in to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling empowered and ready to take the next steps on your home education journey. Your support means the world to me. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. For even more resources, be sure to join the free Facebook group, Home Education with Ease, and visit eduplaylearning.com to explore programs and subscription kits. You can find the links and any other links mentioned in this episode in the show notes below. Remember, you're not alone. This community is here to support you every step of the way.